In this module, you will learn about provisional balloting. This module is designed to supplement the training you receive from your local county election officials and features the redesigned provisional ballot return envelope. Be sure to ask your county election office which version of the envelope you will be using to ensure you watch the appropriate training. The Department of State encourages you to attend the poll worker training offered by your county before every election. Provisional ballots are used when election officials need more time to determine a person's eligibility to vote. These ballots record the voters' selections while the County Board of Elections determines if it can be counted. This ensures that potentially eligible voters are not prevented from voting. To comply with the law, election officials must understand that anyone who arrives in a polling location to vote, but is not eligible to receive a regular ballot, is to be offered a provisional ballot, and anyone who requests a provisional ballot is to receive one. Provisional ballots are not counted at the polling location, but are securely transported back to the county for further review. County election officials review the relevant information and determine if the ballot can be counted. Let's review the reasons why provisional ballots are issued. If a voter's name does not appear in the poll book, the voter could be in an incorrect polling place or they may not be registered to vote. If they are unable to travel to their assigned polling location or believe they are entitled to vote at the voting district where you are working, they can complete a provisional ballot. County officials check that the voter is registered to vote in their county and has not cast a ballot by any other means before determining whether or not the provisional ballot can be counted. Because the candidates that appear on your ballot are based on what district you live in, the county officials may decide to count the votes for some, all, or none of the races selected on the provisional ballot, depending on the candidates available in the district where the voter is supposed to vote. As a poll worker, your job is to provide the voter with the provisional ballot for the district where you are serving. If the poll book indicates that the voter is required to show ID, but they are unable to produce ID, they can only complete a provisional ballot. County election officials will follow up with the voter to verify their ID prior to counting their ballot. If the poll book indicates that the voter is required to remit their absentee or mail-in ballot, but the voter does not have the ballot and envelopes to remit, they can only complete a provisional ballot. County officials will check that the voter has not cast a ballot by any other means before determining whether or not the provisional ballot can be counted. If the voter brings in their absentee or mail-in ballot and the envelope with the voter's declaration on it to the polling place, poll workers should void those materials, provide the elector's declaration to surrender a mail ballot, and proceed with the check-in process, allowing them to vote on the equipment in the polling place. Your county should provide you with the elector's declaration to surrender a mail ballot form and a place to store any ballots and envelopes that the voters provide. If a voter presents a court order indicating that they are eligible to vote, they can only cast a provisional ballot. If a court order is issued to extend the hours polling places are open, poll workers may only issue provisional ballots during the extended hours. If the voter was in line before normal polling hours end, meaning in line before 8 p.m., they do not need to vote a provisional ballot. County officials will ensure that the court order is not challenged or appealed before their provisional ballot can be counted. If the voter's eligibility was successfully challenged by an election official or poll watcher, the voter is entitled to complete a provisional ballot. County officials will take additional actions to either uphold or reject the challenge. These actions will vary based on the nature of the challenge. During a primary election, poll workers may also issue a provisional ballot if the voter believes they are registered in one party, but the poll book indicates otherwise. County officials will verify the voter's registered party before the ballot can be counted. If a voter requests a provisional ballot for any reason, they should receive one. Any voter who encounters an issue checking into the polling place should be offered a provisional ballot. Since the eligibility of a voter using a provisional ballot is yet to be determined, these voters should not sign the poll book or be added to the numbered list of voters. Signing the poll book would indicate that the voters successfully cast their vote using the equipment in the polling place, which could cause their provisional ballot to be rejected. Instead, voters using provisional ballots complete the affidavit printed on the provisional ballot return envelope. Let's go over the supplies we need to properly issue a provisional ballot to a voter. To issue a provisional ballot, poll workers should gather the following materials: the provisional ballot return envelope, the provisional ballot secrecy envelope, the provisional ballot itself, and the provisional ballot receipt. This version of the provisional ballot return envelope was redesigned in 2025. Let's take a look at what changed. This is Pennsylvania's new provisional ballot return envelope, designed to simplify the provisional ballot process. The new layout and colored bars make the envelope easier to read. Illustrated arrows and concise instructions help the voter and poll worker understand what they are supposed to do to complete the affidavit properly. First, the voter is going to complete Section A, the voter affidavit. The voter completes Section A by filling out the following information: their name, as it appears on their voter registration, their date of birth and phone number, their email address, the address where they are registered to vote, the municipality and county where the voter is voting. And by signing at voter signature 1, the voter is attesting that at the time they registered to vote, they lived at the address they offered in Section A. There is an instruction under the box that tells the voter that a second signature is required after voting their ballot. Section B is beneath Section A, below the area where the voter signs their name. The voter should complete Section B only in cases where their current address differs from the address offered in Section A. Next, the voter is going to hand the envelope back to the judge of elections so that they can complete their section and issue the ballot. They will complete the section on the right under the green bar that says "For election officials only." The judge of elections will complete this section before the voter is issued a provisional ballot. The name of the precinct is written on the top line. For those in Philadelphia, the envelope will say district and ward. Next, they will check one of the boxes to indicate the reason for issuing a provisional ballot, and the judge of election and minority inspector must both sign this section. At this point, the voter should be issued the provisional ballot and secrecy envelope and directed to a voting booth. The provisional ballot will be clearly labeled as a provisional ballot. It is important to provide them with a provisional ballot and not a regular Election Day ballot for reporting and reconciliation purposes. Once the voter has made their selections, they must enclose their ballot into the secrecy envelope and go back to the judge of election. The voter will then complete Section C. This only requires a second signature from the voter, signed in front of you, the poll worker, after they have completed their ballot. The sealed secrecy envelope containing the voted provisional ballot can then be inserted into the provisional ballot return envelope. Finally, the provisional ballot return envelope is sealed, and a barcoded ballot ID sticker is affixed to the return envelope here. The voter will receive the other half of the receipt, which contains the same numeric combination as the barcode and instructions on how to check the status of their provisional ballot. Store the voted provisional ballot in the container specified by your county officials to ensure they are able to locate them efficiently on election night. If a voter believes that they should be allowed to vote a regular ballot, tell the voter that voting a provisional ballot is the only way for them to vote at the polling place. You might suggest that voting by provisional ballot is a better alternative than not voting. If they are concerned that the provisional ballot will not be counted, they should contact their county board of elections as soon as possible after Election Day so that they can state their objections before the board of elections decides whether or not to count their ballot. Provisional voting is a fail-safe method of voting for when issues arise at the polling place. This process preserves their vote until those issues can be resolved. When these situations arise, allow the voter to cast a provisional ballot. To recap, provisional ballot return envelopes must be signed by the voter in sections A and C. The judge of election and minority inspector must also sign. If any of these signatures are missing, the provisional ballot could be rejected. Remember that voters who are issued a provisional ballot do not sign the poll book and are not added to the numbered list of voters, as this indicates that they voted on the machines and will cause their provisional ballot to be rejected. If you are running low on provisional balloting materials at any time throughout Election Day, call your county elections office immediately. Follow the steps and recommendations in this training, and you will provide a great service to your neighbors and fellow Pennsylvanians. Thank you for your service as a poll worker. Be sure to check out our other training modules on checking in voters, voters with limited English proficiency, and voters with disabilities.